So the reason I'm speaking today is I just want to put something out there in the world, and maybe somebody will see it, and maybe they'll listen to it, and maybe they'll think about it, and they'll make a decision about their life that they could look back and maybe it benefits them. So I'm in a unique position where I'm from a community that pretty much is minority, African American community, a community where it was not necessarily the worst, but definitely wasn't the best. Lower middle class, I wouldn't even say lower middle class, I would just say, well, yeah, I would say that there's definitely some middle class people in my community and definitely a lot of lower class. So lower middle class, probably a good accurate description. And in that environment, like Compton is probably a very good example of lower middle class 80s 90s area communities. There are definitely some working class people doing right, 2-family home, but there's definitely an influx of, you know, very poor people, maybe a lot of people possibly on welfare, etc., a lot of non-direction, etc. So I'm from that community where, you know what I'm saying, you could go either way really with your life, especially in the 80s and 90s. I involve myself, you know, you're part of the community. So yeah, you deal with people that are in trouble. You may have gotten in trouble, but I also ended up, you know, going to school, getting an education, higher level of education, and eventually, you know, put together a decent life. Pretty decent, actually. A lot expectations a lot higher, or where, you know, what I, you know, financially accomplished, even though I'm in this car, but this is just one of many cars that I own. You know, I've definitely put together a decent life, right? So far. Now, that don't mean I can't lose everything and shit, but that's not what this video is about. This is about speaking to people, young men, young African American men in a similar situation to me at the age that they're the most vulnerable. Because I just want to say that for those young men, you know, and women, but primarily my experience obviously is men, as a man, young man, that if you are considering joining gangs or risking your life unnecessarily for the hood, I have to tell you that it is probably the worst decision you could ever make. And the reason is gangbangers, as much as, you know, these are people in the community we respect, we got love for them, etc., etc., but gangbanging is by far these are the least intelligent people in the community. Okay? This is just the truth. Okay? So just bear with me. There are levels to this shit. Like, there's levels to the military, right? And this is where I'll say where you can understand that I don't really have respect for what they do. Okay? But I can understand having respect for your neighbors who are doing it and people you grew up with. But what you got to be smart enough to know is, in the back of your mind, I respect you, you know, yeah, I don't really respect what you do, but you don't need to know that. I'm just here until I can get the fuck out of here and build something for myself. You gotta figure out how you can navigate these unintelligent motherfuckers who basically have nothing to lose. That's what it requires. To be a good gangbanger, there's no benefit to it. You don't really make money. You don't really have a goal. You basically, to be really good at it, you just basically have nothing to lose. The less you have to lose, the better of a gangbanger you probably will be. Okay? And the only people that don't know this are gangbangers. Like their logic is all fucked up. When you become relatively intelligent, like I won't even you don't even got to be a scientist. You just got to be a little more than basic intelligent. Have basic intelligence. You will look at gangbangers and OGs and be like, these motherfuckers are not smart. And the only people that don't know that is them, that are these OGs and gangbangers. Like the military, like this is real quick. You have soldiers, mid-level management, and generals, right? You don't look at the soldiers who went and they dropped out on the sands of Normandy and they fought World War II and beat Hitler. You don't look at them and say, I don't respect them. But you don't also automatically like, those were the smartest ones in the army at the time and in the Marines. No, you just look at them as, yo, those were the soldiers that the generals, the decision makers, the strategizers decided, yeah, some of these people ain't coming back, but they need to go. And you have a lot of respect for them. Well, there's levels to this. Like that's the highest level of those levels. Military and law enforcement and, even commerce. Even in business, you got a CEO, you got mid-level management, and you got motherfuckers who work in shipping and receiving and inventory, counting, what the fuck, how many widgets we got. Okay, does that mean they're not important or you don't respect them? No, you respect them, but they're not. But even in that case, some of them probably could run the company. You know what I'm saying? But the point is that we need some Indians. You can't have too many chiefs. Can't have too many cooks in the kitchen, right? And the hierarchy is the more intelligent you are in just about every structure, the more likely you are to be a leader of men and women, right? Okay, well, gangs is the lowest level of structure, the lowest level of importance of these levels, and their structure is the same. But the people that run them aren't even very rarely you will have someone who had enough sense to go, it's just, maybe they could have been a doctor, a lawyer, but even then, they didn't have enough intelligence to realize quickly enough that, I need to pivot from this lifestyle. So, just understand that gangs make up a very small group, and the people who watch them from the periphery, we look at them from outside. I mean, some of us was involved with gangs and some of us grew up around it, but most of us, the vast majority of us, see it, maybe dabble necessarily to keep from being a punk in the hood and from being tormented or whatever reasons. But most of us realize early on at 14, 15, I'm not gonna spend my whole life with these dumb niggas. So if you are a young man and figure out a way how to navigate and get through your existence until you get grown enough to get some intelligence, and you will agree with me that they are the dumbest of the dumb. There's no reason for them, gang banging is usually there's not money in it, and it's there's usually no end game except death or old and drinking drinks and talking about shit with minimal education behind you. So it's basically a playground for losers. I understand that, yeah, sometimes you have to create a gang because the neighborhood next door to you coming over, taking your resources, fucking your bitches, getting rich off of selling drugs to your parents, your mom, got her strung out and making your life worse. Okay, yeah, I understand that. Okay, we need protection. We're 14. We can't just move. We can't go get an apartment in a different neighborhood and go to work. I get that. But when you're in your 20s, and 30s, you basically have failed. I don't care. Even the OGs of the OGs, they failed. They're not looked at, and maybe the greatest proof of this is the fact that 99% of people don't gangbang until they're in their 20s, 30s, and all those people feel the same way that I feel if you ask them. But we're smart enough not to tell you gangbangers because it's not necessary. Fine, you want to be a dumbass, we'll watch you. You can entertain us. We'll watch Boys in the Hood. That's, you know. But at the same time, you're just stupid. And it's not necessary for us to tell you because you'll probably kill us over something stupid because you can't handle the truth because you're stupid. And basically, it's like it's not worth it to us. Okay? There's some internet personalities out there that just, they get views and they get subscribership for claiming gang, and yeah, you know, people comment, oh yeah, that's my nigga OG such and such. And yes, I mean, I'm not disrespecting, I'm just being real. And this whole video is not, I'm not talking to you in your 26 and you're 24. I'm not speaking to you necessarily. If you happen to hear it, great. And maybe you will realize how stupid you are and change up and realize what was the point of this as a grown-ass man who's old enough to get his own apartment. And if it means I got to start with renting a room, and then it's levels to that. Eventually, 5 years from now, I might have my own fucking 2-bedroom house that I own with a mortgage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm talking to motherfuckers who are on the internet, who are just like I was at a certain point in a neighborhood that got gangs, got a couple of families that just doing their thing, going back and forth to work, and a bunch of niggas who got nothing to lose, who ain't doing well in school, and realizing that, hey, I don't got shit going for me, so I might as well fuck around and skip school and shoot at people and do drugs and sell drugs. If you're a young motherfucker who's in that environment and you could go either way, I'm telling you, you could get through it. Don't dabble too hard. Get through it. And in the back of your head, know that these big homies and these OGs are the dumbest of the dumb in society. They're the dumbest. Okay? Like I said, soldiers, they're not dumb, but usually the generals are smarter. And those are higher level of importance. Military, education, commerce, business. Those are important. CEO is more important than the person who is counting inventory in most businesses. Okay? But way as those levels go down, the lowest of the low is gangbanging. They have no purpose other than maybe to protect the hood, maybe to protect the resources in their neighborhood, which is not really their neighborhood. They are just occupying a space nobody else really wants. That's the other thing. Claiming streets. You can claim them until somebody else decides they want them. And then you get what's called gentrification. That's something you can look up. And everybody's mad about it. But the people that should be mad about it are the people who weren't in gangs and had dealt with all the bullshit when nobody wanted and gave a damn about their community. And now all of a sudden they decided to, because you can get the gangs out. Listen, the gangs can be eradicated in 2 weeks, okay? You ride some tanks in Compton, or you ride some tanks in the south side of Chicago, and you put some motherfuckers with camouflage on, not to hide, but to just march straight down the street, middle of the street, in tanks with M16s or whatever the fuck they're using now. Guess what? Okay, the OGs of the OG is not coming outside other than to just get suicide by military, so that somebody can talk about them on the internet. He was a G. But that's not smart. That's not the smart decision. That's the nothing to lose decision. Okay? Every one of these OG gangbangers, if you listen to them on the internet and they talk about how it was in the 80s and 90s, like, you wouldn't, if you have any level of intelligence, you wouldn't follow them. You would just look at them, like, you wouldn't follow them. They're not, you would, right now, if you're relatively intelligent and you just go Google any of these motherfuckers, okay? You can entertain us, guys. Again, we're not saying that, I'm not saying, you know, you can be an entertainer, you can come on here and you can tell your story, and you should. I'm just telling you, this is not for you. You should have long since clicked off, because I'm not gonna say nothing to you that you don't already secretly know about yourself, that you fucked up. And this is not, you know, you might get disrespected. Okay, this is for, if you're 24 and you're 25 and you ain't even got a GED, nigga, I'm not talking to you. I mean, hopefully you could get something out of this and maybe go get your GED or go back to high school, however the fuck. Maybe you can get on your phone and get on some other website or app other than Instagram and figure it out and make baby steps. Do levels to that this way, not this way. You're at the lowest of the low. So I understand a lot of it's family, like, damn, family, look, my uncle's in this shit. I get it. I'm from the same community, okay? But even every community, even in Compton, in the Height, even in Watts, in the Height, there was motherfuckers that was coming and going to work and coming and going to, let's make a better way, or let's just do what we're supposed to do to do the right thing. Okay? And I understand sometimes your uncles and there you get pushed into the shit. Or your brother, and I get it. Or somebody kill your brother, shit. Some of us got brothers that's been murdered too. And okay, you ain't the only motherfucker. You ain't the only motherfucker in the world who had a family member murdered, by the way. Some of us went through it too and didn't do that. So if you're young, please take a moment. Maybe maybe only 100 motherfuckers will see this on the internet. And if one young motherfucker who's in that situation, in that environment where gangs are around, but maybe you see one motherfucker who gets up and takes his ass to work, not your daddy, but you know what? Maybe there's something better for me. Maybe I got to do what I got to do to navigate and not let these niggas know that I really secretly think they're all fucking losers at the end of the day. And eventually I can leave these motherfuckers and not forget about them, but understand that the shit they're talking is the requirement, the lifestyle they're living is because they have nothing to lose. Because if they had something to lose and they had an opportunity that they had been presented or earned, you don't gotta always, man, give me an opportunity. No, nigga, why don't you earn it once in a while? Sometimes it's about earning the right to get gifted an opportunity. Okay? Not always. Some dumb motherfuckers just happen to blow up and shouldn't make it and become millionaires without any sense at all. And it's really common in this society with Instagram. But hopefully you'll see this, and maybe one or two of you will decide, you know what? No, you're not getting me shot at 14. You're not getting me locked up and a felony like some of us had, that we had to figure out how to get expunged and had to learn, you know, through the legal system how to fix it. Okay? All right? So again, if you're 27, 32, smoking a blunt, talking shit, wondering who the fuck this is, who the fuck this nigga is, okay, look, nobody not even really talking to you. All right? Okay? So, much love.